I'm going to show you a couple videos in this video of things I've come across as of late, not just happening in the UK, but happening here in America as well. I think a lot of people are terrified of Muslims taking over in America, and the idea that Muslims have been a part of America's story for over 400 years. So I want to talk about it because I'm seeing a lot of videos popping up, kind of fear-mongering. So how many Muslims live in America today? Well, I looked it up for you. It's approximately 3.8 million. That's about 1 out of every 100 Americans would identify themselves as Muslims. But they didn't just get here recently. The first Muslims in America were enslaved Africans. At least that's what I found on ChatGPT. 10 to 20% of them were Muslims. Later in the late 1800s and even the 1900s, Muslim immigrants started coming from places like Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine. But the biggest wave came after 1965 when immigration laws changed, opening the door for Muslims from South Asia and the Middle East, including Africa and Southeast Asia. You'd be shocked to know how many people in Indonesia are Muslims. So why are Muslims here in the United States, considering that America is completely westernized mentality? Well, to escape the war, find freedom, give their kids a better chance at life, economic prosperity. I mean, the list can go on and on. Mostly to work hard and to build something new for themselves and their families. Of course, the different ideologies are what people are concerned about. The question is, where are most of these Muslims living? Well, the biggest majority is in New York, California, Texas, ironically, Illinois, Michigan, especially Dearborn, Michigan, has the largest Arab Muslim community in America. And we saw that fight for their votes during this past 2024 election.
President Donald Trump's visit to Dearborn makes him the first 2024 candidate to come to the city, a city which is largely Arab and Muslim.
I think he's trying to gain the support of a very important class of individuals, those of the Arab and Muslim community. Dearborn being home to the largest concentration of Arab Americans outside of the Middle East.
They have regular jobs, teachers, doctors, politicians, as we know, athletes, and so on and so forth. And they're not going anywhere. But the fear tactic that I see, and I think this might be an agenda, right? This might be a tactic of the right-wing groups. Now, last year, I think many of you guys remember that there was a lot of extremism about the Jewish population circulating places like TikTok, and they were really upset. It was mainly on TikTok, which is why they were trying to get TikTok banned. You remember them saying, we have to do something about this TikTok problem. We have to have them stop talking about the Jewish population as being some elitist group that is secret society that runs and operates everything in the shadows. And there are poor Jewish people. So now I think the agenda has flipped here in 2025 under Donald Trump's administration to showcase the alarming number of Muslims moving to America. So I want you to see this first video, and this is a woman talking about Sharia law is incoming in Connecticut, Florida, and Utah.
January is Muslim Heritage Month here in Connecticut. State leaders gathered today to celebrate Muslim pride and heritage.
Authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Temple Terrace, Florida, encouraged the community to reflect on the history and contributions of Muslims in Temple Terrace through the celebration of Ramadan and Muslim Heritage Month.
Community right here in Utah.
Hundreds gathered at a prayer meet Friday morning, and
great. It's very uplifting, and and you feel okay, finally we made it.
This is important because these communities, like I said, are setting up their way of life here. They're living, studying and practicing their religion and doing those things here in America. And while America is a melting pot, how does it make you feel listening to them announce that there's going to be a special month for them? These type of things are starting to have tempers flare because there's a lot of Christians that ask the question, this isn't allowed under the Constitution. What about Christian Heritage Month? A lot of mad face emojis. People are not happy about this, especially when they're seeing images coming out of places like Ireland, UK, even some of the Scandinavian countries that have been completely overwhelmed by Muslim communities. Now let's listen to what he says about this.
There seems to be a general misunderstanding that we're talking about a plan to build an Islamic Sharia-friendly community. The Epic neighborhood already exists in Plano. It's been there for nearly 12 years, with 74 residential properties, a massive mosque, schools, a medical clinic, and multiple businesses. It also has an office of an Islamic financing institution called the UIF Corporation. The UIF Corporation is not a bank. It's a Michigan-based corporation whose publicly stated purpose is to, quote,
how is this, you have to ask yourself, how is this any different from what the Jewish state has done in the past? From what any other culture that has some means have done? So my estimate, my guess is that eventually America is going to be overwhelmed by a lot of people coming here from other countries that are torn countries. Look at Palestine, what's happening with them. How many of them do you think are going to end up here in America or other parts of the UK or, European countries, right? They're going to be there. So of course, those people are going to get absorbed into other cultures, but I don't think it bodes well for them because American culture is pretty corrupt, and I can't see those two societies melding as well as we think they will. Believe it or not, most Muslim people, even though you would think because of their ideology they would vote more Republican, no, they were overwhelmingly voting for Democrats. Democrats allow them to enrich their communities by building giant mosques, like he said, and doing the things that they want to make their whole system that they had overseas here in America. And I find it kind of annoying because it's like somebody said, they said, great, now we have to listen to this, playing outside. They're now allowing them to have their mosque play music or play their prayers on loudspeakers. I mean, and people are like, we don't want to hear that. We don't have Catholic or Christian churches doing that. So why are we allowing it for them? And then there's this final video. He's a policymaker for New Jersey, and he's proud of the work he's doing. So he's signing this into law in New Jersey, and you see the smile on his face. He's ecstatic to do this.
Officially, the law of the land. So January is Muslim History Month in New Jersey forever and for always.
I think it's because they think they're helping the community by enriching these people and letting them have their religious views and all their things be able to be, can do what they want. But how quickly do you think their way of living will trickle into Western, the way Americans think? I think it would happen very fast, especially when they put their kids into the same school systems and such. I think it would end up having real clashes and real opposing views before you know it. This is a really dangerous and slippery slope we're going down. I think letting them have their own communities is probably the best idea, but the kind of atrocious things that probably go on in those communities, especially under Sharia law, I don't even want to know how women are treated in those communities. Now, regular Muslim people, I know a lot of them, and they're good people and they're upstanding people and wonderful people, but most of the ones with the Sharia law, I don't know. It's just not for me, and I think we're messing around, and we're going to find out if we don't stop it anytime soon, if we don't really look at this as a serious problem. Anyways, you guys tell me what you think.